The church has been my family, Terry, for as long as we've been here. When we moved here, we didn't have any immediate family living close by, and as we became acquainted with the church, it just became family. And that's why I enjoy being here, is because it gives me a closeness of feeling like belonging to a family. My friend Maury Graham worked in the bank where I was working, and I sensed in him a difference. And at that time in my life, I was in my 30s, and I was kind of restless, like a lot of people that age are and everything, and I couldn't seem to find a peace. And I sensed that in Maury, so I talked to him and said, what's wrong with me? What is it that's lacking in my life? And he said, what you need is Jesus Christ in your life. And I said, oh, yeah, right. But I also had gone to a meeting at a church where there were a bunch of just church ladies there, and there was a gal there that was talking, and she was talking about urban renewal, but I sensed in her the peace that I was looking for. And I knew she was a friend of Maury's, so I asked Maury if he thought she would visit with me, and he said, oh yeah, I'm sure she would. And so I arranged to have lunch with her and went to her house to have lunch, and she asked if she could read a piece of scripture, and I said, oh, sure. And so she read from Ephesians, where it talks about how we are chosen by God. And that kind of impressed me. And then she prayed just like a blessing, but it was like she was speaking directly to someone, and I'd never experienced that. So that was a very pleasant experience, and I came back to work from lunch, and I was just sitting at my typewriter typing, and I just very quietly in my heart said, okay, God, you can have my life, because I just can't handle it anymore. And I physically felt the presence of God in my life. I felt his hands upon my shoulders. Maury happened to be sitting there, and I just turned around to him, and I said, oh, Maury, you'll never guess what happened. And he said, I felt his presence just now. And it was there. And that's when I gave my life to Christ to control. That's really was the beginning. After that, I just went along in life and joined a Christian women's club, and was sitting again at a meeting probably 9 months after that. And there was a lady again talking about today is the first day of the rest of your life. And again, God came to my mind and in my presence, and he said, and what are you, Marge Forum, doing for me? And I said, nothing. I wasn't doing anything for him. And so then I began my journey of looking for what God would have me to do. From there, it led me to a program within the church we were attending, and I went to a seminar. God came and said, you want to open a Christian bookstore in Glasgow? And I said, I do. And it was confirmed that I did. And I said, I think I need to pray about this. So I prayed with somebody about that. And I said to God, well, you'll just have to show me how, because I'm in the banking industry. I don't know anything about opening a bookstore. And I said, and besides that, you'll have to give me the money because I don't have it. And I went to lunch. And sitting at the lunch table, I shared that with the people at my table, because I was quite impressed with what God had said to me in my head. And so the man across the table from me said, I have 5,000 bushel of untreated wheat. If you can sell that on the market, you can have the money to open your bookstore. And that was the next adventure. So then I came home, rented the only downtown place in Glasgow that was for rent, and in September of 1972, I opened the Good News Bookstore and had it for 12 years. And then economic conditions were such in Glasgow that we couldn't keep it open. And the day that I was actually closing the store, Tom Stathis came over from the Valley Drug, and he said, how would you like to move your bookstore to the drugstore? and we can have a bookstore and a drugstore and a gift store. And so I did. So God, again, was faithful. It was his idea to open the bookstore, and he continued it for as long as he wanted. You know, what would my life have been if I hadn't listened? And my life isn't like anybody else's, nor did he have that purpose for anybody else, but he did for me. And I know he has that purpose for everybody. And I find that to be true as I look at other people, as I become acquainted with others. It helps me to see that they're different than me, but I hope to convey to them that your life matters to God individually. It's just wonderful to look back and see how God has touched my life all the way along the way and provided for me before I ever knew it. Absolutely. So I trust him to provide from now on. I mean, you know, how can you not trust? I don't have to strive to do anything. I don't, and yet I'm blessed abundantly. I you know, it's just crazy. It's just to recognize how he, you know, walks way ahead of you. He's got it all planned out. He knows exactly what the next few years are going to bring too. So I don't have to worry about that. He has a plan for each one of us.